Listen carefully, because I will not repeat this. My name is Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso. And today, I speak not only for my people, but for every man, woman, and child who calls Africa home. I speak for our ancestors whose blood nourished this soil, for the warriors who fought and died for a dream they never got to see, and for the children yet unborn who deserve to grow up free. For centuries, we have been told to kneel. For centuries, we have been told to wait. For centuries, we have watched as others dictated our destiny. But today, that ends. A few days ago, a message appeared, a so-called warning. They said it came from Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. They claimed he told African leaders to stay in line or face the consequences. Maybe he said it, maybe he didn't. Frankly, I don't care. Because it wasn't about one man or one statement, it was about a mindset. A mindset that still believes Africa is a child that needs guidance, a land that can be threatened, bullied, or bought. Well, let me tell you something, that Africa is gone. I remember the moment I walked into that press hall in Ouagadougou. The air was thick with tension, the lights blazing, cameras pointed straight at me. My advisors handed me notes. I pushed them aside. I didn't need a script. When you carry the truth inside you, it speaks for itself. I looked into the camera, and I spoke not just to one man, not to one country, but to the world. I said, we are no longer colonies. We are sovereign nations. And if any foreign power thinks it can threaten Africa into submission, is gravely mistaken. The room fell silent. I could see journalists freeze, pens hovering in the air. I could feel the eyes of my people watching through every lens, every live stream, every heartbeat. But I wasn't finished. I leaned forward and I said, Burkina Faso does not answer to Tel Aviv. We do not answer to Washington. We do not answer to any capital that thinks it can buy us, bomb us, or bend us. Those words weren't just a statement, they were a declaration of war on fear itself. Because this was never about Israel or America or France alone. This was about every empire that ever looked at Africa and saw a prize instead of people. And I ended with a warning, one that came from deep within the spirit of this continent. If you come for one of us, I said, you come for all of us. That moment changed everything. Within hours, my speech spread across the continent like a wildfire. Young men and women in Mali, Niger, Senegal, Ghana, they shared it, repeated it, chanted it. On X, on Telegram, on WhatsApp, my words became their words. Hashtags like hashtag Africa will not bow and hashtag we stand together filled every screen. Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali reposted it, calling it the voice of a new dawn. Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea said, he speaks for us all. Students in Kenya marched with flags. Mothers in Nigeria played my speech to their children before bed. Across the continent, hearts that had been silent for too long began to beat with pride. For the first time in decades, Africa was speaking with one voice. Because sovereignty is not just a word in a constitution. It's the right to decide our future, to protect our land, to say no when others expect us to say yes. For too long, the powerful have played chess with our lives. They moved their soldiers, their corporations, their money, and we were the pawns. But not anymore. In Burkina Faso, we've said no to foreign bases. We've said no to unfair deals. We've said no to those who come smiling, but leave us empty-handed. Together with our brothers in Mali and Niger, we've built something new, the Sahel Alliance. A pact not written by outsiders, but born in the blood and unity of our people. If one of us is attacked, all of us rise. If one of us is threatened, all of us fight. And if one of us stands tall, the whole of Africa stands behind him. And yet, as our unity grows, the silence of the world grows louder. When I spoke, Israel didn't respond. The Western media ignored it. They didn't want this story to spread. They didn't want the world to see an Africa that no longer fears them. Because for so long, they've controlled the story. They've painted us as weak, divided, lost. But we are rewriting that story, line by line, speech by speech, action by action. They called us poor. But we are rich, in spirit, in courage, in resources the earth itself envies. They called us backward. But we are ancient. Our civilizations built empires before there's even learned to write. They called us divided. But look around, from the deserts of the Sahel to the jungles of Congo, Africa is awakening. This awakening is not just political, it is spiritual. It is the sound of generations rising from their knees. It is the roar of millions who finally remember who they are. We are not victims. We are victors in waiting. France once ruled over us, taking our gold, our labor, our dignity. They left military bases and called them partnerships. They imposed their currency and called it aid. But those chains are breaking. Mali said no. Niger said no. Burkina Faso said no. And now others are watching and learning. This is not hatred, it is justice. This is not rebellion, it is rebirth. When we talk of sovereignty, we are not rejecting the world. We are demanding respect from it. We are saying, treat us as equals, not as tools. We are saying, we will trade, we will cooperate, but on our terms, not yours. I have seen our children grow up watching Western TV that tells them they are less. I have seen our students forced to learn histories that erase their own. I have seen our farmers starve while foreign corporations drain their soil. And I say no more. Africa will not be the story of suffering. Africa will be the story of strength. When I said those words on live television, I didn't just feel the eyes of my people, I felt the presence of my ancestors. I felt the voices of warriors long gone whispering through the air. I felt the rhythm of the drums of our heritage beating in my chest. They reminded me, we were kings before we were colonized. We were builders before we were broken. And we will be free again before we are forgotten. To those who fear this new Africa, I say don't. We do not seek war. We seek respect. We seek partnership built on fairness, not fear. But make no mistake, we will defend ourselves. To the powerful nations who have grown fat off African wealth, your time of unchecked control is ending. The era of extraction is over. The era of cooperation begins on equal ground. We are not begging for a seat at your table. We are building our own. We are the sons of sun, the daughters of the soil. We are Africa, and Africa does not kneel. When I look across our continent, I see something beautiful. I see young Africans who no longer dream of escaping, but of building. I see innovators in Kenya turning sunlight into energy, students in Ghana designing satellites, doctors in Rwanda saving lives with African medicine. I see artists, thinkers, soldiers, and leaders, a generation that refuses to be silent. This is what terrifies the world. Not our armies, not our resources, but our awakening. Because once Africa remembers its power, nothing and no one can stop it. Some say my words are too bold, too dangerous. They say I am provoking the giants. But I ask you, what is more dangerous? Speaking the truth or living a lie? They told us to stay quiet. They told us to obey. They told us to wait. And what did waiting bring us? Poverty, corruption, dependence. Generations of Africans born into the same chains their ancestors died trying to break. No, silence is the real danger. I speak not because I seek fame, but because I refuse to be afraid. I speak because I have seen my people suffering and I know their worth. I speak because I believe in a future where our children no longer call themselves third world, but first in dignity. This is our rebirth, our renaissance, our revolution. We will build schools that teach our history, not someone else's version of it. We will build hospitals that heal our people with the best of science and the wisdom of our ancestors. We will grow economies that lift our villages, not foreign investors. We will build nations that are proud, powerful, and peaceful. And if they try to stop us, they will find that this time, Africa fights back. Because we are not just nations, we are a family. From the deserts of the north to the oceans of the south, we share the same heartbeat. And that heartbeat is getting louder. We will stand with one another. We will protect one another. And we will rise together. Let the world know, Africa is not your playground. Africa is not your pawn. Africa is not your charity case. Africa is your equal. And if you cannot respect that, then stay out of our way. Our ancestors fought with spears and courage. We fight with truth and unity. But the spirit is the same, unbreakable. To every African listening to my voice, rise. Do not doubt yourself. Do not doubt your land. Do not doubt your destiny. You are the legacy of kings, the children of the sun, the heirs of a greatness the world tried to bury. But you cannot bury a seed, because a seed always rises again. We are rising. We are uniting. We are remembering who we are. Africa will not bow. Not to greed. Not to guns. Not to fear. Because we are the storm that the world never saw coming. We are the dawn breaking after centuries of night. We are the voice that cannot be silenced anymore. So to the world, I say this, your time of dominance is over. And to my brothers and sisters, I say, our time has come. Stand tall, speak loud, walk proud, because Africa will never kneel again.